sack. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again to the 35.
Hungry dogs run faster.
What's good, everyone, and welcome back to Having Juice with OJ. And today, we got a regular episode again, because my boy Juan's here. What's good, bro?
What's going on, man? Shout out to Dan, showing up last minute last week. We appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, seriously, showed up, showed out of nowhere. Juan, season ticket holder of the Philadelphia Eagles, was at the game yesterday. I was at the tailgate, then I was at Xfinity. I left by the third quarter. I had to get out of there before traffic happened. How'd you feel? Vibes were high at the tailgate, I'm assuming. How'd you feel before the game?
Well, before the game, I felt confident. I thought that was a game that, that they should be able to win. Spread was, 5.5? I thought that they should have been able to cover that. I will never bet on the Eagles, by the way. It's just something that will never happen. But I like looking at, the spread and things like that for Eagles games. And 5.5, I thought was pretty accurate. I thought that was, a team you can beat by a touchdown at 10 points along those lines. And as you know, it all depends on how Kirk Coupons plays. And I don't think that he played great yesterday, but he did enough. He got the ball out quick enough,
Yes, he did.
Their O-line got smashed to pieces by Pittsburgh, and that's the first point that I think we should get to, is that this pass rush is atrocious. It's atrocious, man. I mean, we were getting absolutely no pressure, and we're paying these guys. You got Josh Sweat making a ton of money. You paid Bryce Huff a ton of money. BG, I understand you're an old head, bro, but we've got to get some pressure. Nolan Smith not really showing anything. I think you had one sack yesterday, and it was from Milton Williams, who looks great, by the way. But in the same breath, that's the one guy who gets a sack for the team. Yesterday, they just picked on Reed Blankenship. They just attacked Reed Blankenship. He looked good against Green Bay. Did not look good yesterday. But I mean, going into the game, like I said, I thought that was a game that I was confident that they should at least win. At least win. And the last drive is just what really it was if you like football, if you're like for you, right, that's a good game. That's a fun game to watch. But when you're sitting there and you're watching them just march down the field and you know exactly what's about to happen, it's not fun. And it just turns what was a great day into just such a brutal ending to the night. Everybody leaves out of there mad. Everybody's trying to fight Falcons fans. It's just one of those, when you lose like that, man, it just puts such a damper on the mood of the city. And it's just, I'm feeling rough today.
I totally get that. I mean, before the game even started, I'm walking around with Dan, right, and his cousin Ken. We were just talking to all the different people, right? Everyone's obviously immaculate vibes. They're oh, it's gonna be 38-7. They're gonna absolutely stomp on them.
Yeah.
That's just everyone's mood. They were it's Kirkio Cousins in a primetime Monday night game.
Yeah.
There's no chance that this dude can lead a game-winning drive. I mean,
Drew Lock did it. What are we talking about? This defense has just shown you that they're not. Well, I think I was watching some highlights of it before we came in here, and they right before they went and did the fourth game-winning drive when the Eagles were leading under 2 minutes, they showed that we had already lost 3 games just like that, and so it was just, you knew what was going to come, unfortunately, and it happened directly in front of me. Drake London catches that ball, and he does exactly what I'm doing. I'm in the stands like this, and he throws his hands on his head, and he's looking around, and I'm like, he has every right to, man. He has every right to, because they literally just marched down the field with no resistance.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, whatever. I still don't think he, like I said, I don't think he played well.
He definitely did not.
But he got the ball out quick, and, defenses didn't really show up. They showed up when it, can't even say that. I was going to say they showed up when it mattered, because they did. They did in the red zone.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it was a low-scoring game in a way.
Yeah, and
they
had chances to score touchdowns, but and the defense, just like they did in Green Bay, held them to field goals. But then that last drive, it just ruins everything. It just ruins what was a solid defensive night.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think the biggest issue for me is the fact that you're sending 4 guys at the front, and you're playing a prevent defense in the secondary. I mean, that's what gets me so angry just watching the game. I mean, yeah, everyone shits on me. I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm from Philly. I don't give two fucks about that. All I've got to say is that I watch football and I break it down the way that I see it. I see the fact that you're rushing 4 guys. Your edge rushers are not putting pressure on the quarterback at all. They can't get to him. It's like so sad. It's the fact that you're not sending extra guys from the secondary down to at least maybe show that you could blitz. And then you're not doing it. You're playing prevent defense all the way in the backfield. That's just allowing these big plays to explode where you've got double moves going on big play slay. You've got just a Blankenship getting torn up by Mooney. Like, I don't know how you can say that, like, they played that good on defense in my head. It's just like, yeah, like red zone wise, like, you know, they held them to what they held them to. I mean, 20-something points is nothing. It's just like, man, like I expect more from a team that's supposed to be like top 3, top 4 team in the league.
Agreed. I was gonna kind of get to that. The bend don't break is just been a frustrating experience for Eagles fans for years, I feel. And we're right back to it where we're gonna let you get down to the red zone and then we're gonna make you kick field goals. Mm-hmm. It's brutal. It's brutal because teams are just gonna dice you up. And you saw it. Kirk Cousins just attacked the middle of the field most of the game. Got that one big play to Mooney where CJ got. I don't know what the tackling effort was there, but you know
there was none.
Yeah,
there was none.
That's like I don't know exactly what the coverage was, but it looked like they were in some sort of man with like a cover one or like a robber situation, and then it's just. You know, GJ one-on-one with this guy has to make that tackle.
Yeah, has to.
You're the last line of defense, and he couldn't do it. So I don't think that they played great, but I think that they showed up when it mattered for the most part, except for when it actually really fucking mattered. Like that, I can sit here and talk about that last drive. The last 2 drives, the Eagles' last drive and the Falcons' last drive. Were the game. Like the rest of the game didn't really matter to me anymore. Like none of those 2 drives were what decided everything. Yeah. And we can sit here and we can nitpick on Saquon for dropping that ball that he needs to catch.
Needs to catch it, but also one play doesn't like factor into the entire game.
It doesn't. And in the same breath, the coaching to me was just abysmal all game. The decisions were inconsistent. You're going for it on 4th and 4s early in the game, and then you're kicking field goals like midway through the game. Just commit to one. You know? And I would prefer you to just take the points. Yeah. Your defense isn't a bend don't break. You're going to be giving up field goals. Take your field goals then. I understand that you like being aggressive and it's fine, but right now just take your points. It's so early in the season. Just take your points, and they didn't want to do that. The last 2 minutes, I mean, I would prefer you to run the ball, right? On that 3rd and 3 where Saquon drops, I would prefer you to run the ball. Yeah. It's a good play call. It's a good play call. He should catch that ball. He doesn't, right? And like I said, we can nitpick back and forth, but none of that matters when you just get sliced up in like 6-7 plays.
Yeah, it was just too easy.
It was so easy. And the drop we can nitpick on, but doesn't matter in the end because they came and gave up a touchdown anyway. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, man, that game was it was so fun, man. I had such a good time. I love being with my family. I love the banter. I love going back and forth with Falcons fans. Yeah. But, you know, it definitely puts a damper on your day when they lose like that, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Eagles fans absolutely love talking their smack to the opposing teams. Yeah. So, I mean, and it's the other bird. You got the Eagle, you got the Falcon. So that was a lot of smack talk that I heard when I was out there talking to people. People like, oh, it's the better bird. It's the better bird. Just absurd. Yeah, man. One thing that I really wanted to talk about was the post-game conference with Jalen Hurts. A quote that he said that I just heard it on the Fanatic 97.5 when I was coming in, and I was just blown away that he actually said this on live television. We'll read like half of it. Keep your head up at the end of the day. We have to intensely control the controllables. I think when I look at this game, there are a lot of things that we could have controlled fundamentally in our details. The little things that we just didn't take advantage of. What do we think about the quote of intensely controlling the controllables, Juan?
Sounds like Jalen Hurts, man.
Like, what is that?
I don't know. He loves coming out with these one-liners, and sure, control the controllables, brother, please, because this season is already looking like a roller coaster.
Oh gosh.
Already looking like, well, and I'm not down on the Eagles at all. I still think they're going to be a good football team.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But this season, like, I text my cousin right after the Packers game, and I said, I have a gift for you for Christmas. It is a cardiologist appointment, because all of us are going to need to see cardiologists after this season the way that it's looking right now. So control the controllables. It sounds, like I said, it sounds like a Jalen Hurts quote, man. And he's never going to say anything like out of line or anything like that, but
it sounds like a robot.
Yeah, that's what I was trying. That's what I was trying to get to in my head. Like, everything just sounds rehearsed, and like he already knows what he's going to come up there and say, and that's.
He's like trying to be a prophet. He's
yeah,
it feels like it's like the old days, and like he's like trying to get people to like believe in him. It's like the old Jesus. He's like trying to get people to like, he's trying to recruit people on, and he's like, guys, we just have to control the controllables. It's
man.
that easy, right? It's that easy. Except you lose to the Falcons.
Yeah, man. I'll say this though. I don't think there's any reason to blame Jalen for yesterday. I thought Jalen.
I don't think so. I mean, some decision making, yes, but I don't think that that's the reason for the loss. Was the sometimes making a bad decision.
I thought that he was. I mean, they didn't really. For one, Saquon was gashing them, gashing them. And I felt like we were just throwing it a bit too much for my liking. Just feed Saquon. You paid him a good amount. Feed him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know the exact numbers. I didn't even look at the box score.
Yeah.
But I know Jalen had a lot of completions, and I saw at one point he only had like 150 yards.
Yeah, he was 23 for 30, 183 yards.
Yeah. A
passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown. I mean, he had 15 times he was rushing for 85 yards and a touchdown. Did? Yeah. Okay. 13, my bad. 13 rushing for 85 yards. That's solid.
That's you have Saquon's numbers?
Yeah, Saquon 22 rushing for 95 yards. I mean, not bad.
It didn't feel like he got the ball 22 times. I don't know.
Yeah. While being there, it just didn't feel like that.
Thing. Like, when you're at the stadium, I don't know. There's so much going on, and like, I'm with my family, and I can't say that we watch every play. Where when I'm sitting down watching the game on TV, like, I'm pretty dialed in almost every play.
You also get to see it from a different angle on TV.
Yeah.
Like, you can see it from bird's eye.
I'm in like a corner of the end zone, and like the seats are great, but when plays are happening like on the other side of the 50, they can get a little hard to see sometimes. Like I said, it just didn't feel like Saquon got it 22 times, but hey, I'll leave my words on that one. I think Jalen did what he could do. I kind of struggle with the routes that we're running right now. I feel like they take too long to develop. I don't know if Jalen he's holding the ball a bit long. I think he was pretty good about it yesterday, but he also escaped a bit more yesterday, and he was willing to use his legs, which I love. But I feel like the routes are taking a bit long to develop. Mind you, you don't have an A.J. Brown yesterday, and you could sense it. You could feel that Jahan Dotson's not quite what Eagles fans think he is.
Yeah.
Paris Campbell's a practice squad receiver for a reason. Brandon Covey had more targets than Goddard at one point. He might have finished with more. I don't even know. But that was your receiving core yesterday. Besides Smitty and Goddard, it's practice squad guys and a punt returner. But I just feel like the routes take a bit long, and that Jalen had all day yesterday too. All day in the pocket yesterday. Beautiful sign. But nobody's getting open. Either nobody's getting open or they're taking too long to develop. I can't really tell you what it is right now, but I don't think anybody can blame Jalen for what happened yesterday. I think Jalen did what he could. My whole blame is on the defense, in all honesty, and coaching.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you look at the numbers from the other side, I mean, the fact that you've got Bijan running 14 times for 97 yards.
I saw that.
You got Algier 9 times for 53 yards.
He was gashing us. Oh, yeah. He's massive, by the way.
Yeah. Yo, he looked way bigger than he did last year. When I was watching the highlights today just before coming on here, he just looks broader, bro.
Test that, man.
Yeah, seriously.
He's a big boy, like in person too, and he's like big, dude. I was
Yeah.
like, damn, that's a
And what is
fullback.
what is this? This is his third year in the league, I think. Because
Third or fourth, yeah.
Yeah, because I think his rookie year was the year before Bijan came, where he had 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
And then Bijan, then they drafted Bijan right away. Everyone's like, you have Algier.
Yeah, Algier's a big dude. He runs hard, man.
Yeah, and then I mean, you just look at the receiving. Kirk was spreading the ball. I mean, Mooney, 3 receptions, 88 yards, a touchdown. Drake London, 6 receptions, 54 yards, and a touchdown. McLeod, 3 receptions, 42 yards. Bijan, obviously, 4 receptions, 25 yards. Always look at his receiving overs. I mean, I've said this 30 times on this podcast, guys. You could be a millionaire. Kyle Pitts, 3 receptions, 20 yards. Algier, 1 for 12 yards. He's throwing the ball all around. That's not a practice squad receiving core right there. And 2 of them are your running back.
Yeah, they did a good job. Well, first of all, I'm just gonna beat this dead horse once again. The pass rush is atrocious.
Talk your smack, Juan.
Bryce Huff just was getting stood up. Like, it looked like he wasn't even trying at certain points. That's a man you paid a lot of money for. You let Hassan Reddick go. I mean, maybe Hassan Reddick comes back. Who knows? We'd love to see it. But
So you're welcoming him back with that Temple hoodie on, right?
yeah. My boy's gonna come right back over. He was actually at one of my little cousin's football games, and really cool dude. We tried not to like blow his spot up, but he took a picture of my cousin and everything, and so yeah, I got a lot of respect for Hassan Reddick.
And he had double-digit sacks last year, so that doesn't hurt.
So here's the thing: is that like Howie wouldn't want to pay him. Howie didn't already want to pay him, so I just don't see it being realistic. But I would love some sort of pass rush help. Maybe even Devin White. Let Devin White come off the edge and start blitzing a little bit. That's what he's good at. You need something right now. You need something to get to the quarterback. Like you can't not get to the quarterback. Like that's how you got to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, especially when you're versing a guy who like has no Achilles right now and
dude.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely insane. You're versing somebody who's known as like one of the most immobile quarterbacks in the league, and you're still not getting to him. He literally can't step up in a pocket. He will not run more than 5 yards. Like there's just no reason to not get to this guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, we just beat the hell out of the Eagles right there. I don't think there's much more to discuss on them.
A little therapy right there.
Yeah, I know.
Get
Yeah.
it out.
I'm your therapist right now, Juan. Just like talk to me, bud.
That works. I like that.
Something that I just kind of want to bounce off of that, because we got to have some type of positive in here, is there's nobody on top of the league right now. None of the like top team. It doesn't feel top heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like especially after I think there was 6 now after last night. I think there was 7 underdog flat out wins. Not even just covers, but wins. And that's big for the league. So that's big for the Eagles, is the fact that there's nobody showing that they're that dominant right now, including the 49ers.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, you lose CMC, right? But everyone's like, you can plug anybody in, right? Jordan Mason, Georgia Tech, 25 years old, comes in, first game, 147 yards and a touchdown. Bang. Dude's like, everyone's like, okay, maybe we don't even need CMC. People are crazy for saying that, by the way. The Vikings beat them 23-17. What a win. I mean, that's a team win right there, other than the fact that Jay Jettis is the best wide receiver in the entire league.
Yes, he is.
Sam Darnold, 17 completions for 26 attempts, 268 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 interception, 5 rushing for 32 yards, by the way. Ooh, that boy got legs.
Wheels.
Yeah, and I mean, Ty Chandler had more rushing attempts than Aaron Jones.
I saw that.
By 1, which is absolutely wild. 10 rushing attempts for 82 yards, with Aaron Jones getting 9 rushing attempts for 32 yards. Ty Chandler, coming out game right there, baby. I'm excited for him. That's good for him. Never thought he'd be seeing more attempts than Aaron Jones, though.
I know.
Jay Jettis with a 97-yard touchdown, just absolutely blew by the defenders. Sam Darnold, all the way back against the end zone, chucks that ball to him by the 50. How do we feel about the Niners right now? And then we can translate that into how we feel about the Cowboys a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So the Niners, love watching the Niners lose.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good game. I watched a lot of that game. The Niners are just like the Eagles. I think that they're still going to be a very good team. I think they're still a team that the Eagles are going to end up having to play in the playoffs. But I saw that Brock Purdy went up to Brian Flores after the game and was like, "Your scheme is crazy," and that's a good sign for Vikings fans. That's a good sign for Vikings fans because Brock's been able to kind of dissect defenses and use Shanahan. So I like that the Vikings won. Yeah. I agree with you that the Lions lost, 49ers lost, the Cowboys lost, Eagles lost. So all these top dogs in the NFC all took an L, and it kind of shows you it is an open race. And teams like the Bucks, we talked about the Bucks a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I said I like the Bucks, and they're showing you why. I also said I thought the Saints were going to be horrible, and that looks like a bad take right now.
It's early, guys. We're going into week 3.
It is. But it's always nice. I would love the Eagles to capitalize on a 49ers loss, but. You lose to Atlanta.
Yeah.
So that's that. But always love watching Dallas lose. Always love watching Dallas.
How do we feel about that 50-point fantasy performance from Alvin Kamara,
or whatever you call him? So, 50 points, you'll take it. He was just dicing them up, man. Screen game, running outside, running between tackles. It was just a Kamara show.
It was.
And that Dallas defense looks a little rough right now. After they looked pretty good week 1 against the Browns. So, Dak couldn't quite get you, your garbage time fantasy points this week, but stick with it. He'll get you your garbage time fantasy points eventually.
1,000%.
But yeah, that was a game that I was watching Red Zone, and every time they flicked to, it was 17-0 Saints, and I'm just cheesing, man. Just cheesing.
I mean, watching that 70-yard touchdown from Derek Carr, throwing it to Rashid Shaheed, who's been an absolute dog in fantasy, by the way, guys.
I was on my bench.
On my bench, 20 points. Saddening. Thank God I won that week, or this week. Derek Carr looks good in that scheme right now. The Saints do look good. We both did not really like them this year. No. I mean, you don't like an aging running back in general. 29 years old, Alvin, came out and showed us that we should have picked him earlier in fantasy at this point. Cowboys just absolutely looked abysmal in my eyes.
Bad.
49ers look bad. The Lions, I heard a lot of people talking smack on the Fanatic about Dan Campbell and him not kicking field goals and doing all this yesterday, before the game. So Eagles fans were coming in basically calling Dan Campbell a special teams coach. That's what they said. How do you think those same guys feel about Nick Sirianni right now then?
I think that we're all kind of on the same realization that Sirianni is just like a figurehead at this point.
Yeah.
He's not coaching offense. He's not really coaching defense. He's just kind of there to, I guess, somewhat make decisions, and the decisions are looking a little rough.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's easy to say. It's easy to say in hindsight because if they work, then he looks like a genius, right? But they didn't. And so, to go back on your point, those same guys that were talking about Dan Campbell are probably having the same conversations about Sirianni today because it's always one of those, it's hard to score points in the NFL, and I understand wanting to be aggressive and wanting to set the tone, but take your points sometimes, man. When games feel tight and games feel like they're not necessarily, you're not going to blow it open or anything like that, I say just take your points. So those guys, they're right. They're right. Dan Campbell, he makes some very interesting decisions.
Yeah, he does.
But also he wears it. He sits there he's not going to change. And so I can somewhat respect that.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, you got to full-fledged do it.
Yeah, and he does. He goes for it.
I mean, if you look at it, it's not by the book, but it does make the most sense to go for a lot of them as long as you're just going for it. I mean, it's like gambling.
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna gamble, you gotta gamble. You can't go half in on it and be like, I'm only gonna gamble this week, but not next week. You're not gonna make your money. You're gonna lose. Yeah. Same thing when you're out there on a football field, 4th and 5. You better believe you got to go for it every single time. Because if you don't go for it that one time, it's going to screw up the whole entire thing.
So, we can talk about Dan Campbell and not taking field goals, but the man went for it a fake punt inside like their 10-yard line. And they got a first down, and everybody loves that.
Yeah,
so,
everyone loves it.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have it one way. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's, you either love Dan Campbell or you hate him. And if you're a Detroit fan, and I feel like it's pretty similar. It's not, actually. With Sirianni, I feel like most people in Philly are really – they realize that he's probably on his way out if this season doesn't go well.
Uh-huh.
I don't sense the fan support that – like, we love Doug Peterson still. I mean, mind you, he won us a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But like, we love Doug Peterson still. Andy didn't win us a Super Bowl, but we love Andy, him. Right? Like, I don't feel that same fan lore that for Sirianni as we do for some of our other coaches.
Yeah. You guys did, definitely.
Yeah, because
at one point, you guys definitely did.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think last year and this year now.
Yeah, the welcome kind of wore off a bit, I guess.
Mm-hmm. It's the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, the cockiness and all of that. Like, I like that kind of stuff personally. I think that it bodes well, especially in the sport of football. But you gotta back it up, and you're like 2-11 in your last 13 games.
Yeah, it's rough.
It is. Yeah,
there's not much you can do there. Juan, I want to wrap up this beating. But I want you to say one more thing. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are right in front of you right now. You got something to tell them for next week. What are you telling them?
I don't really have much to say to Jalen, man. Like, what I'll say about Jalen, what I'll say to you, Jalen, the decisions got to be better. But you're fine. I don't have any issues with how Jalen played last night. Sirianni, get your shit together. It's time to step up. It's time to legitimately like put the big boy pants on and get to it, because you got to a Super Bowl and you looked great, and last season everything collapsed, and at this point you are on the hot seat, my man. I understand it's only week 2, and I feel like that's a bit of an overreaction, but it's not in the city of Philadelphia, bro. In the city of Philadelphia, you got to step it up, and they're going to put you on the hot seat in week 2. If you turn on 94-1 right now, I'm sure they're ripping you up. I'm sure they are. It doesn't matter what week it is. So it's bottom line, brother, step it up, put the big boy pants on, and come out and kick the Saints in the teeth. That's what you've really got to do. You've got to kick somebody in the teeth and just blow somebody out to really start picking this thing back up, getting this train going again. You know what I mean? Like, we've got to you got to I'm struggling here, but the Saints game is where you've either got it's going to tell me a lot, right? How they're going to bounce off of a loss, and what they're going to look like in another away game, a true away game in a hostile environment against a team that is buzzing right now.
Yeah,
if anything, I would sit down with Vic Fangio and be like, listen, my man, we got to bring the corners in and safeties down. We are playing this crazy show with just leaving things wide open in the middle when you don't have coverage linebackers. N'Kobe's not a coverage linebacker. Zach Bond's not a coverage linebacker. So we've got to figure out something in that sense, because your old school style of how you'd like to do things isn't quite working right now. And it's interesting to say that when they only give up 22 points yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? But like we just talked about, none of that matters when you just get destroyed on the last drive. That's when you need to show up. That's when you need to make your best play calls. And guys are wide open for 20, 30 yards a chunk. So that's what I would sit down and say to Mr. Hurts, Mr. Sirianni, and I guess Mr. Fangio.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. One more thing for me to add on there. The Saints, they have a lot of big plays. Derek Carr throws the ball, and Alvin runs the ball. Those are two of the worst things right now for the Eagles defense, is the being able to stop the run and giving up big plays. It's going to be an interesting week, guys.
Quinion Mitchell interception on Sunday, calling it now.
All right, calling it here. Put in the bets.
Yes, sir.
Well, Juan, thank you so much. Everyone like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how you feel after we just visited the Eagles' funeral in week 2. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.
In trouble. He's going to be sacked. No, gets away.